afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today, and it's an important day and important discussion that we're having right now. And first thing I'd like to say is our governor is in Washington, D.C., meeting with military members, senior brass in the military, and that was pre-planned. Otherwise, he would be here, and he asked me to send his regards. And he is closely monitoring the situation. He and I have been in constant conversation over the last 24 to 48 hours and last week as we began to get indicators. We recognize that this is a critical link for this entire Outer Banks community, and the immediate effect that the closure of the Bonner Bridge is having on every aspect of your daily lives. And I want to first thank everyone involved in helping orchestrate what was a very tough decision to make yesterday, and from Sheriff Dowdy to Jerry Jennings, my division engineer out here, to Warren Judge and his team, and Bobby Outen, and everyone. We've got Paul Tyne, Senator Cook here, and Malcolm Fearing, the board member, and really it's a concerted effort because there's a lot of complex moving parts to this entire situation, and I'll walk you through. We wanted to bring everyone together to give you the latest information, and really thank you for your ongoing support, and we appreciate the patience and partnership during this time, and want to assure everyone that we close this bridge to traffic because it posed an immediate safety concern. The governor, our team, and myself all see this as an emergency situation, and we've expedited the process we have to go through to bring in additional resources to inspect the bridge and make the necessary repairs. And so bottom line up front, there are really three things that are going on here. At my level as secretary, I can declare a state of emergency within a certain scope that allows us to suspend the rules for the bidding process. And so I did that yesterday when the engineers came to me and said, we have an immediate safety concern. And so I immediately did that. And that allowed us to secure yesterday afternoon Carolina Bridge Company to begin the repairs as quickly as practicable for them. The second thing that is happening today is the governor will declare a state of emergency, which gives us broader response capability, specifically to get permits for the dredge Alaska that is in Oregon Inlet right now to be able to move and put sand into the pylons that are on the bent that we're talking about, the specific bent in question. And the third thing is we've got a purchase of additional sensors to be able to, in process, to be able to monitor going forward the stress load and the depth of the pylons and the bents. So those are three things that are happening right now as we speak. And so as background, as most of you know, last week routine sonar scanning that we do of the Bonner Bridge identified areas of scouring that were approaching critical levels of erosion around some of the support structures of one platform. So that was a red flag, of course, for us. So in response, we conducted additional inspections, and we were already moving toward securing a contractor to complete emergency repairs. And then, as I mentioned yesterday when I declared a state of emergency within my scope, we immediately were able to secure the contractor. We had divers back in the water this week, yesterday morning, and a sonar scanning boat back in the water, examining the bridge yesterday as well. And our engineers recommended to me to close the bridge based upon an immediate safety concern. And we closed the bridge immediately when I heard that we had an immediate safety concern. So in the area of concern is at bent 166, and I've got Jerry and some technical experts that can talk through that. It's toward the south end of the bridge. I think we've passed we can to mitigate the effects of the closure. We have 4 ferry runs. We had 4 ferry runs last night, 2 in each direction. And I thank Jed Dixon and the ferry team for responding very quickly because, again, the engineers declared it unsafe. We made the immediate decision, and so there was no run-up for anybody, to include our DOT employees who turned very quickly to get the ferries running between Rodanthe and Stumpy Point, and to help get most of the folks who were stranded safely home. And again, safety is our primary consideration. We brought in 4 ferries to run on our alternate route now that we have to Hatteras Island, and that schedule began this morning. And I'm told that things are going relatively smoothly with the ferry runs. During this repair period, we're also waiving tolls for residents who live south of Bonner Bridge, emergency personnel and vendors who are traveling on the Ocracoke to Swan Quarter and Ocracoke Cedar Island routes. So that's in place as well. We will continue to monitor the situation and we will adjust our resources as necessary to assist however we can. We'll also keep you updated as new information becomes available. So please, for everybody watching out there, keep a close eye on Facebook pages, the NC12 page, the NCDOT Secretary page, website, Twitter accounts over the coming weeks for the latest information. I want to thank our staff and the Dare County staff and the local officials, here and across state who have worked so hard in response to this emergency situation, continue to work around the clock to support this region. A case in point, the crew from the ferry vessel Cedar Island was supposed to come to our Board of Transportation meeting tomorrow and be recognized for rescuing 2 sailboat passengers a few months ago. And while they're not, we'll still recognize them, but they won't be there because they're here, running ferry routes. And we can never fully predict what's going to happen next. We've been aware for quite some time that the Bonner Bridge needs to be replaced as soon as possible. We've been working really for a couple of decades to do that because we care deeply about the people of the Outer Banks and as well as the environment here in the Outer Banks. And as we've said many times, this bridge is standing on borrowed time. This is just another indicator of that. This region, the Outer Banks and Dare County, have faced a lot of challenges over the years, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that you have the transportation infrastructure in place to reach vital destinations and services to support the industries like tourism that are the lifeblood of this community. And I just want to thank you for joining us today and being here. And I've received some questions about why there was no warning, and I just wanted to clear that up. I made this decision, and in full consultation with the governor, who gave me the green light to make the decision when the information indicated that the bridge was unsafe. When the engineers told me it was unsafe, I made the decision to close the bridge immediately. We had a short debate regarding, should we say at X time, and allow people to get back in position. And at the end of the day, the engineers said the bridge was unsafe. And if we put a time out there and then something happened on that bridge after it was declared unsafe, that was not a scenario that we wanted to have happen. So that's why I made the decision to close down, and that's why there were some people that were severely inconvenienced. And so we made a decision, I made the decision 100% based on safety. And we'll consider, we will continue to look at all aspects of safety as we work toward reopening the bridge. So those are my opening comments. I'll be back up to take questions, and I'm going to turn over the microphone to Warren Judge right now.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you and your team from Raleigh to Dare County. The men and women of NCDOT are great friends and a great comfort and great help to the people of Dare County. With me today are three of my colleagues on the Dare County Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Virginia Tillett, Commissioner Bob Woodard, and Commissioner Wally Overman. And I thank them for being here today in support. Also, thanks to our Representative Paul Tyne for coming down today, and thanks to Senator Cook for being with us today. Jed Dixon and the North Carolina Ferry Division are indeed great friends and true friends, and kind of like when you used to see the Red Cross truck coming down the road. And Jed, we appreciate everything you all do. I know you and I had some late night conversations in the past. Hopefully we'll be able to avoid that. And Mr. Secretary, if you would, certainly we'll be sending a letter to the governor, but please carry our personal thanks to him, because I'm sure you'll speak to him and see him before I have an opportunity to speak to him. But we thank the governor for all he has done and is doing and will do to right this wrong to the people of Dare County in eastern North Carolina. We're not dealing with a natural disaster. We're not here today because of a storm that has put us in peril. We're here today because of a man-made disaster. I want everybody to think, and when they write their stories and when they go home to their television shows, I want you to think about the 5,000 souls that live and call Hatteras Island home. They choose to live on Hatteras for numerous reasons. One, family may have been there for the last 400 or 500 years, or they may have found it to be their dream destination, to location to come home and retire and live out their lives. They understand the perils of living on an island. What they and the rest of us don't understand is why we've done this to ourselves. In 1997, 4 governors ago, we knew the NCDOT knew the bridge needed to be replaced. The bridge was supposed to go into construction in April of 2002, and here you are a little bit over, more than 11 and a half years later, waiting for the replacement bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical situation. Again, not a natural disaster, but a man-made disaster. We need the people to stand with us. We need the people to stand with us and tell these special interest groups that have stalled, delayed, and obstructed the replacement of this bridge that they need to stop. They need to put this down. Just imagine tonight if your child was sick and you need to take him to the hospital. Imagine what a Herculean effort that's going to be in the middle of the night tonight if you live on Hatteras Island. Got to get to the ferry. You got to wait for the ferry. 2.5 hours. Then you're in Stumpy Point, North Carolina, a wonderful destination, but 30 minutes from the hospital. Then you're on to the hospital. We shouldn't have to live like that. We don't have to live like that. NCDOT 50 years ago built these bridges to tie us together, and we need the bridge replaced. So to my friends and neighbors on Hatteras Island, you folks, you make us proud. You all are able to cope with this. You have to cope with it. We salute you. To the rest of the folks of Dare County, please join with us in helping our neighbors, our brothers and our sisters south of Oregon Inlet. And to the state of Virginia, represented here today, and to the rest of the state of North Carolina, we need your help. We need your help to put this bridge back. DOT will get it repaired, and we'll get back on top of it. But if construction started tomorrow, we're going to look at this for 4 years. This is not lightly. Bobby out, our county manager's here today, and I guarantee you, he manages this county, some 700 employees, $100 million budget. If you asked him what his biggest fear was, he'd be talking about our transportation links, whether it was the bridge off of Hatteras Island, whether it was a clear ferry channel from Stumpy Point to Rodanthe and back, whether it was Highway 64 West, a main evacuation route out of our county. Thank you all for coming. I'll be here also with the Secretary later on to answer questions, and thanks. Representative Paul Time.
Thank you, Warren. I would like to also thank the Secretary for being here. With a lot of folks in Raleigh to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. So I'd like to thank him and his team and the county and Bobby Otten. I'd like to assure the folks of Dare County as a citizen here myself that each and every one of my inquiries from the governor's office to the secretary to the ferry division have been met with appropriate responses and a real sense of urgency and an understanding that this closure is creating some hardships for our folks in Hatteras Island and down in Ocracoke. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same thing for the special interest groups that have put us in this position. I know there are some folks here from out of town that are covering the story in Virginia and also in Raleigh, and I've been asked several times, what can you do to help? And it is time that we get some help from other people in this state to talk to the Southern Environmental Law Center, talk to the Defenders of Wildlife, and ask them to consider the safety of the citizens of this state and of Hatteras Island and of this area, and impress upon them how important it is that they take a balanced approach to this and drop their lawsuit. Our safety is important. Warren Judge accurately and appropriately described, a situation that's very real for the people in Hatteras. And I want to let you know that while we work towards two resolutions, one in the short term and one in the long term, that my office and my phone is always available. Please call on me if there's anything that can be done to help lessen the impact on Hatteras as you as an individual or your business or the community. So please contact me if I can be of any assistance. Next up, I believe, is Senator Cook.
I just want to echo a couple of points. First of all, I think we did the right thing in closing this bridge immediately. God bless you. I'm thankful that we have people who are dedicated to their jobs and doing a good job. And I know that they're going to get this bridge up and running again just as soon as humanly possible. Have been doing to us down here. This has got to stop. This is insane. I want you to think about what Paul just said, what Warren has been saying, that this is just crazy. Here we have a beautiful place, an island, and we let overly zealous environmental folks shut down a bridge effectively. They've delayed a bridge for, 20 years? It's insane. I'm an environmentalist. God knows I love the beach. I want to see it endure forever. I want to see all the animals here. But this is just ridiculous. We've got to do something to stop this. And today I'd like to call for the Southern Environmental Law Center. Give it up. We've done enough damage. Quit. I hope I wasn't too emotional. God bless you.
I'm not going to give a political speech. I'm just going to give you some hard facts about how I feel about it. One, I want to appreciate and thank the people who put me in this position on the DOT board. We were meeting today, and I stopped along with the Secretary and staff to come down here and deal with this issue. If there's any doubt of the sincerity or concern or dedication or attention being to northeastern North Carolina, most specifically on Hatteras Island, it's evidenced by the heavy lifting that they've done over the last 12 to 24 hours. This is a third or fourth visit from the Secretary to Dare County to deal with this bridge. It's been said about the work that the Ferry Division has done. A decision to close the bridge was made quickly, correctly, and I support that decision. It was done in the right manner. But the logistics of getting the people moving and getting examples of alternatives to fix the problem. And when I say that, I'm not good with words. I'm going to point out Mikey. I'm going to shout him out. I got a telephone call getting ready to go into a meeting. Mikey's a local fisherman. He said, Malcolm, there's a dredge in the inlet right now 1,000 feet from the bridge. Can you all look at that? I said, Mikey, I'm looking at Nick Tennyson. I said, Nick, can we look at it? Nick looked at it just like this. So the department is responding. There's not an issue in government on this solution to Hatteras Island. There's an issue with some differing viewpoints on how we live in our environment. And the plea that I would make to the Southern Environmental Law Center is to look within yourselves, look deep within yourselves, and to see what you're doing. I know you're committed to this cause of the environment. I believe that. But are you right? Is it about winning, or is it about doing the right thing? We're at a point now that the judicial system has agreed that the department has done their work correctly, and the bridge should move forward. And that's what we should be able to do, is move forward with that bridge. And along with that, I'm going to advocate an inlet solution. We here that live on the water depend on the water, and in that we have channels, we have inlets, and we have bridges. And they need to function for the safety of all people that live here in this environment. So we all can do what most Americans want, is to earn a living. Again, I want to thank the legislative group that is here, the staff of the state DOT, and welcome any input from our local community of how to address this issue, because any and all ideas will be vetted. I will assure you that. So, Mr. Secretary, again, I can't thank you from the very bottom of my heart, the dedication and the leadership that we're receiving from the department, and that's from you. So thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. And as you can see, the elected and appointed officials out here in Dare County don't lack the passion or the commitment. They are very committed and very passionate about representing you and your interests. So, and I would like to really second what Chairman Judge said, in that, you know, the way I view it is the pioneer spirit of the people of the Outer Banks is really to be commended, and I appreciate, having known the people of the Outer Banks for all of my life, really, I really commend you for your fortitude and your bravery in this situation. And DOT's first and foremost concern is your safety. And now I'll take any questions, and if I need to, if you want to ask someone else a question, we'll bring them up to the microphone.
Mr. Secretary,
Wait, hold on. You got to speak in the mic.
Mr. Secretary, Andy Fox from Wavy TV. How many of these pilings have been separated from the ocean floor, and has the dredging of Oregon Inlet had anything to do with it?
None of the pilings have been separated from the ocean floor. The map that you're looking at shows where the red paint is. That's 20 feet from the ocean floor, or the inlet floor, properly said. And so the lowest piling is at 13 feet. And so that means that there's still 13 feet of piling into the sand and the inlet floor. And the dredging, my engineers tell me, has had nothing to do. It's, you heard the dredge is 1,000 feet away. It's had nothing to do with this situation. This bridge has been there for 50 years, and this is the first time that it's ever been closed for scouring. Yes. Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How often is the routine sonar scanning, and when was the last one, and what was the level at that point?
I'm going to bring my
technology which produced the images that you have. It will be done again on Monday, and will be done at least once a week following that. If we have any weather event, if we have any anomalies that would cause us to do additional surveys, we would, but at this point it's scheduled weekly.
What about the previous one, before this one that caused us all the problems? What was the last one?
There was one completed yesterday, there was one completed last Friday, and there was one completed the week prior. I'm not sure of the exact day. And we have seen, decline, loss of material on each of those.
Were any of those, was it below 20, sorry, was it below 20 feet at any of those previous readings last Friday, the week prior? I guess what I'm saying is, could you see this coming before we got to this last one where we said, oh no, what's happened?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's why we have been doing the monitoring that we have at the frequency we have. We've been looking at this very closely, have initiated repairs in last couple of weeks. And so we were working towards addressing the problem. Just in this particular scenario, the scour occurred more rapidly than in other areas where we've dealt with it, and it reached the point where the bridge became unsafe before the repairs could be implemented.
And we didn't say, oh no, what's happened. Those are your words. And as I said, and as Jerry just indicated, we have been monitoring this situation very closely. And we began preparation for hiring a contractor 2 weeks ago as we began to see the erosion of the sand around the pilings. So the engineer team has been very diligent and trying to be predictive here. And then as we got the diver into the water to confirm the sonar scan, that's when we got the report, it is unsafe. And that's when I made the decision. Yes.
Kip Tab, North Beach Sun. Actually, it's two questions somewhat related to one another. What is going to stop the sand that, or whatever the fill is that you put back in there from being scoured out all over again so that the same situation continues to happen? And somewhat related to that, this is a pretty extensive repair, it seems to me. Are you aware of other repairs anywhere that have been this extensive that have used this type of engineering to affect the outcome?
I'll comment generally and then have the division engineer come back up. There have been other preventive measures when scouring has been noticed on other bents adjacent to this bent. And there have been preventive measures taken and restorative measures taken in the past. So this is not a unique phenomenon, but it is certainly one that can be handled so that the bridge is safe. And Jerry, I'll turn it back over to you.
The most recent scour repair that we've done on Bonner Bridge occurred about 2 years ago. I think it was in 2011. And it was immediately north of the area that we're concerned with now, going towards the high-rise span. So we have done very similar repairs on this bridge, and they have worked. Your question about will it stay there? The technology we're using is something called concrete AJAX. And basically they're concrete modules that are interlocked together and will form a perimeter around the area that the scour has occurred. We will go inside those and place large sandbags and completely fill the area, and then do that again in 2 more layers. Another layer of AJAX, another layer of sandbags, and bring up the entire area that is scoured around the piles up 10 or 12 feet in elevation. That will keep any additional scour from occurring, but it will also help to accumulate sand into those Ajax, into the sandbags, and around the pilings, and support the bridge.
Could I do a quick follow-up on that? That'd be all right? Okay. If we know that the inlet is migrating south, why wasn't this done earlier? I mean, the inlet has been migrating south for quite some time. Couldn't it have been predicted that this type of situation may have occurred?
Well, again, the monitoring that we are doing is, there are several areas where we are monitoring very closely and have been for a period of time. Just in this case, the scour moved more rapidly than it had in the past.
Catherine Kozak. I'm writing for the Island Free Press on Hatteras and Ocracoke. The depth, the proper depth, these pilings should be in the sand. How deep should it be to be safe?
Well, on your maps, the red line, the critical line, is at 20 feet. And so the proper depth, Jerry, as we talk about this bridge and building the new bridge?
Basically, if you look at your map here, where you see red on the pilings is where the bottom has scoured below where we would need it to be. The top of that red line is at 20 feet, and that is the area that creates a concern for us as it drops below that point.
Can you put, Jerry, in context, there's been lots of problems over the years with scour at different bents and pilings, or whatever would be the correct terminology there. How is this different, and how is this more critical, and why? What was the decision to close this bridge based on? What was so
repairs, but it never reached the point that the bridge had to be closed. This is the first time it's had to be closed because of this problem.
What was so dangerous? Why did it have to be closed immediately?
The amount of scour that had occurred and the remaining embedment of the piles into the bottom.
And I would just say that as you look at this actual sonar diagram, and when you look at the bent, which is one platform that the bridge is running across, 9 of the 10 piles are below that red critical level. And so as Jerry was in my office yesterday and the divers reported and the sonar matched up with what the divers were seeing and recommended to me to close the bridge, this, having 9 of 10 piles below critical level was the key factor for me to make the decision to close the bridge. And so you can visualize that if it were to get worse and more rapidly worse, as it has been happening, that you could have a support structure reach critical failure. And so that's why I said, let's close it and close it now, and not because this was moving faster, as Jerry has said, than in the past. So that was, as the one who made the decision, that was the key information to me. 9 of 10 pilings are below critical level, and it's not a stretch to see critical failure of this bent or platform.
And they're only on this one platform.
That's right.
One quick follow-up. What time did you make that decision?
Gosh, it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere in there yesterday, as we were sitting in my office with all the key staff. I believe I've got a question right here and then there.
I have two questions, not at all related to each other, really, if that's okay. The first question, if you first noticed these problems last Thursday or Friday, and it took the diver confirming these problems on Monday to shut the bridge down, is it safe to say the same level of danger existed all weekend when people were driving on the bridge?
No, that's not safe to say, nor is that what the engineer said, that it has deteriorated at a rapid level over the past week.
So over the weekend it got worse? Is that accurate?
It's accurate to say that over the last several readings, it has gotten progressively worse at a rapid rate and much more rapid than in the past. And I don't want to speak for you, Jerry, but it's okay. Okay.
So then, if I may, what was the difference, in the level that the diver found yesterday and what your sonar found Friday?
I can't speak to that.
I can't speak to that specifically, other than we were able to confirm some of the information from the sonar scan, collaborate the two, look at the condition of the piles, condition of what was occurring there, and it reiterated the concern that we had.
Yeah, and I would just add, this is a huge decision. So while we've tried to make it as simple as possible with pictures to show in a visual display, it takes time to put this sonar image together. It takes time to send divers down. It takes time to debrief the divers. It takes time to make this kind of decision that's going to has school issues. They have to live their lives, and so for me, this was a big decision to make. And as we discussed it over the Thanksgiving holiday, we were monitoring this situation very closely. And I was on the phone with the governor, and we were talking about where we were on this. And Monday and Tuesday, we had more scouring than we had the previous few days. And you can think about the current flowing through here. The sand could come in because it actually builds around other support structures. So it was not a given that it was going to progressively get worse. But that's what the reading showed and the divers confirmed.
So the divers found the same problem was as bad as the reading was last week. Is that accurate?
No.
You're saying they confirmed the problem, so it was the same problem?
The sonar and divers that went down Monday and Tuesday confirmed that Monday and Tuesday's readings, the sonar confirmed what the divers saw and the divers confirmed what the sonar was seeing.
Todd Carrillo with News Channel 3. We've heard about what steps you are going to take to correct it, but for the folks who live in Hatteras who are wondering, how long is this bridge going to be closed? Can you talk to us about the timeline? Are we talking about weeks, months? Are we going to go into the summer tourism season? Give us some idea.
Well, obviously, until we get the contractor on site and get an estimate from them on how long this will take, it would not be wise for me to make any kind of prediction on this. We will work as quickly as possible, and I laid out sort of in my bottom line up front statement, we're getting the emergency permits to move the Dredge Alaska to put sand into this area, and then that will help with the situation. And then we've already got Carolina Bridge under contract. They should get delivery of all the key supplies. You think about the logistics of ordering and purchasing and moving supplies. That's probably 2 weeks to get everything here. And then there's the work of actually getting down there in the water and doing what needs to be done. So that's... it would not be wise to make a projection, but I can tell you that over the next several weeks we're going to be working really hard to get this bridge open as quickly as possible.
Senator?
I got Adam Owens on the back here.
Secretary, in your mind, how does this event change the legal battle over this new bridge? And we've heard some other people had a message for these environmental groups. Do you have one yourself?
Adam, I think that my message has been very consistent. Judge Flanagan made a very sound ruling using case law and went through point by point on the Southern Environmental Law Center's complaint and really defeated every point and showed where we, DOT, had taken all the proper steps, care about the people, care about the environment, we're doing all the right things. And so the very rapid appeal that the Law Center, Environmental Law Center did in October was really, in my opinion, just in the face of the people of the Outer Banks and Dare County and their lack of concern and contempt for the people out here. So the people live here because they love the environment. The Outer Banks is the crown jewel of this nation, in my opinion. There's no other place like it in the world. And to deny access and to put at risk the thousands of people that live here and the thousands and millions of people who have visited here to see this beautiful land is unconscionable, in my opinion. And so it's not right. I know you got to follow up.
You mentioned earlier, I do believe that you felt that the bridge is on borrowed time. What is your ultimate fear, moving even beyond this as it pertains to Bonner Bridge?
Well, my ultimate concern, Adam, is that this legal battle continues. I think I saw someone from the Southern Environmental Law Center put out a comment in one of the media avenues that said, well, if they build a new bridge, this will just happen again. And that is an incredibly inconsiderate, inaccurate, and crass statement by this organization that pretends to care about the environment. What they care about is winning, and they're ivory tower elitists down here that that I don't even know if they've been here, but these ivory tower elitists file these lawsuits from their air-conditioned offices in Chapel Hill or Charlottesville or wherever, and they do so with their lattes and contempt and chuckle while the good people of the Outer Banks are fighting hard to scratch out a living here based on tourism and based on access. And so for me, the crass statement that and the just very shallow, ignorant of the facts statement that, if they build this bridge, it'll just happen again. Well, this bridge has been here 50 years, 20 years beyond its lifespan, and this is the first time it's been closed for scouring. So the ignorance of the facts and then the contempt for Judge Flanagan's ruling and the contempt for the people of the Outer Banks is unconscionable. And the people that support this center, they should come out here and they should meet the people of the Outer Banks, and they should be in this room, and they should have to answer questions to the people of the Outer Banks. So that's how I feel about it.
Mr. Secretary,
Yeah.
Following up on Adam's statement, Andy Fox from Wavy TV. This is from the Southern Environmental Law Center. They gave us this statement, 10 on your side, yesterday. NCDOT's inability to secure all the necessary permits for its faulty plan to build a new bridge in the same unstable location is delaying construction of a new bridge.
And that's just misinformation, because they sued us in state court for our camera permits. And so we had to join DENR, the Environment and Natural Resources Department, to be a party of that lawsuit. They blocked us getting the permits. It's not that we failed to secure them. That's such an incredibly naive and contemptuous statement. That is, again, the contempt that this organization has for the hard work that everybody behind me is doing, and everybody out on Hatteras Island, and everybody in this room is trying to do to just have some modicum of quality of life for the people of the Outer Banks. And so this lawsuit and this now appeal to go to the next level, they couldn't take the fact that Judge Flanagan on every single point said NCDOT has done the right thing. They couldn't accept that. They had to appeal it because it's about winning for them. It's not about anything else, in my opinion.
Thank you. Can someone speak about the provision being made for
I think we got a question back here from someone who was not asked.
I'm Mikey Daniels from Wanchee. I want to thank you for coming here and what you're doing. You're on the right track. And, the shame is, that people can there's nobody telling the truth anymore. People, they distort everything. And, and what we would like to do is, if you're going to do this with Youth Alaska, we would like to have the sand off the bar that would pump in there. This thing, she'll fill that up really quick. And so that would be, be killing two birds with one stone. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's the plan, that my experts are going to work that, but I called the governor earlier today to get the declaration of emergency so that we had the broader scope so that we could get the permit. We need 4 permits. Talking about permits, we need a permit from the Coast Guard, we need a permit from the Corps of Engineers, we need 2 from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and we'll get those in the next 24 hours, so we know how to get permits.
I'm Maddie Lawson, concerned citizen, and I'm really, really proud of the job that you're doing to protect our citizens. I have a question about the safety of the people in Hatteras Island. Is it feasible to set up a helicopter service so if there's emergencies, they can quickly get people off Hatteras Island into the need that they might have for emergency services? And also, is it possible to set up a temporary urgent care facility for people in Hatteras Island so that at least they have one less thing to worry about?
Those are 2 great suggestions, and we'll talk to Warren, Judge, and the commissioners and see what level of service we can provide at either the county or state level, and I thank you for your question. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is there any possibility that at some point the bridge can get put in a condition where there could be perhaps weight limits and there could be some access provided?
I'm going to turn that one over to my division engineer.
Catherine, that's not completely out of the question, but what our structural engineers are telling us based on their analysis is that the live loads of traffic on the bridge are really having minimal effect, that it's the dead load of the bridge itself is creating as much of the concern here as traffic is. Now, with that being said, certainly the efforts that we will be making to implement these repairs, we'll be monitoring that very closely, and as soon as we reach a point in those repairs that the bridge can be reopened, obviously every effort will be made to do that.
Question in the back.
And Mr. Secretary, I'm Dale Petty, a business owner on Hatteras Island. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all of our other representatives for being here and all the hard work you're doing. Question is, the Judge Flanagan's decision, it was our understanding that once that decision was made and, and the permits then secured, that DOT would be in a position to move forward immediately with construction of the new bridge, irregardless of any appeal that might be made by SELC. So my question is, and obviously you're working on the issue with camera permit now, but if the camera permit were secured, is there anything that would prevent DOT from beginning construction on the new bridge? Because I don't believe Judge Flanagan did not stay her decision, did she?
I've got my legal staff looking at the second part of your question there regarding once we get the permits, are we, can we move forward? And the state permits, as I said, we had to be named as a party to the lawsuit against Diener that was filed by the Southern Environmental Law Center. And so we did that immediately within a week after Judge Flanagan's decision. So now we are a party to that lawsuit and can join in the fight against that. And so I know that my general counsel and the attorney general lawyers were in mandatory mediation as of 2-3 weeks ago. That is a first step in that process. And I think predictably the mediation has ended and we're where we are, which is where we were. And so the next step then is to file for discovery and do the legal process on the camera permits. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to say anything that is outside the left and right range limits here. But we are moving as quickly as we can on the camera permits. And parallel and simultaneous to that, I've got my general counsel reviewing what our options are if we do indeed get the permits, and then how we can move forward.
Sir, you guys have mentioned the dredge a few times and how you got the permits to move the dredge to put sand in the area in question. Will that be able? Will that be a Band-Aid approach? Could that open the bridge back up quicker when you guys put the sand in, so it's a temporary fix, so that you could go and do the Ajaxing and everything that you guys mentioned? Is that something in which could get cars back on the road with the sand replacement?
I appreciate the question. Yeah, we're considering every option. Of course, you would want that sand to settle. You would want to send sonars down. You would want to send divers down, and you would want to make sure it's safe. And so we're not going to do anything that we're not 100% certain is safe, because, again, just imagine the worst nightmare scenario. And so now that we've closed the bridge, we're going to make sure we've got it right before we open it. And indeed, if we figure, if we see that, that could work, then that's certainly an option that will be on the table. Any other questions? I thank you for your attendance here today. This is a critical time period right now, and we look forward to working with local officials to rapidly open the Bonner Bridge as soon as it's safe. Thank you very much.